My name is Jack Seidler, and you are watching that Hella Dank podcast. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. I hope you enjoy.
Timu can advertise you crack pipes and dildos.
Yeah,
God
but-
forbid you show a bong on YouTube.
Yeah, but so what they do is like the one thing I saw is they're advertising this like paper roller thing, and instead of like weed, they break apart legit broccoli. And they demonstrate with broccoli because they can't show weed, and it's just, I'm like, that's so weird that we have to fucking do that shit. It's like, Doug, we know what that is. Like, everyone knows what that is. You're stuffing something in a joint paper.
This is for your broccoli blunts?
Yeah. So, let's crack this window. It's gonna get 1,000 degrees in here.
Good thing you guys don't live near a train.
Yeah, well, we just live near a highway.
We have a train right by our house, and it'll be like 2 in the morning, and I'm like, dude.
God damn it. There you go. All right, so yeah, no, that's the one thing about living here. I like this place, but it's like anytime I roll down this window or I'm like experimenting with these, it's like it picks everything up. I had to like learn how to tune each microphone so it like deletes background noises, only picks up certain things.
Yeah.
And when there's a fucking highway next to you and there's giant ass fucking trucks driving by, it's kind of hard to. Or Caleb Jake breaking, like, whoa, it's like some fucking dumb shit, dude. Yeah. So, you work at Wilco, right? And
I actually don't groom anymore. I worked for Wilco for about a year, but I was in dog grooming for, I think, 8.5.
Damn.
Animal care for 14.
So where did that all start?
It all started because a position opened up where it was like, oh, this is an internship to actual like work. And I was like, I'll volunteer at an animal shelter, playing with puppies and cats. I found out real quick that's not what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of took off from there. I found out that helping animals is where I wanted to be, especially like you get shipments, I guess is what you call them, but you get transfers in from like Oklahoma, Texas, and it's these dogs that were due to
So
be,
it's like nationwide.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just like a local thing.
Oh
shit.
Any local shelter, they'll get animals from all over Mexico, Texas,
Really?
Oklahoma, California.
Like just for grooming? Like
No, that was more of the animal care aspect.
Gotcha.
Animal rescue is I got my start at an animal shelter.
Okay.
And so, they'd get a call or they'd get like an email that would be like, hey, these 24 dogs are going to be euthanized and we don't have space. And Heartland would be like on it.
Gotcha.
Or like Green Hill, Safe Haven, whatever.
So you're with Heartland?
I was, yeah.
You were? Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess like when were you a kid and you decided this is like, like grooming? Let's just start from the top. You know what I mean?
So when I was younger, I wanted between two careers. I either wanted to be an EMT paramedic or a veterinarian.
Okay.
And I would like kidnap our barn cats and shit, and I would like play vet with them, and I would come in the house and I'd be like, my hands would be tore up, or I would pretend I was a vet with like the hunting dogs or my mom's
What
dogs.
consisted of pretending to be vet? Like just catching them and just being
I'd try to catch them and be like, oh, this poor kitty's so hurt, and I would try to like put a fake bandage on it, and they would just like fuck me up.
That's hilarious.
So
that's like
it started really young, like really, really young.
Gotcha. And then so as it went on, you decided not like the vet thing wasn't for you.
It got to a point where like it just you see the worst of humanity in animal rescue, and in vet care, it only gets worse. You kind of see that it's never an animal's fault. It's really like you see the worst in people, but it's like even worse for the animals. And so I took a break and I did like a intermittence of childcare and like soul searching, I guess. And I really wanted to stay in the animal field. Got a job at Petco and just went from there.
That stuff. Yeah, it's tragic, man. Like and it like there's obviously like limited control, but like when you see like legit like animal hoarders
Oh, yeah.
or like growing up, my mom, she always I just grew up with a lot of animals, my whole life, and my mom was like a wildlife rehabilitation specialist, and but later on, she got depressed and eventually
Yeah.
started like hoarding dogs and shit, and it got really kind of, each dog had the care that they needed or whatever, but from that I started observing other people
Yeah.
and seeing like people will do the craziest things like to their own animals or whatever, and it's just like straight up just the most depressing shit when you're just like, wow, people can be evil even to like a beautiful dog or
Well,
something.
and it's like there's a weird stigma with dogs. I learned this quick, especially in grooming too, is like you get a German Shepherd and it's attacking people randomly, and everybody's like, that's an aggressive dog, it needs to be put down. And it's like, this dog, A, doesn't have a voice, B, you don't know what's been done to it. And I'm like, it's an animal. They can't be like, yo, I don't like what's going on. You have to be like abundantly compassionate, because this dog could have been beaten or
Jesus,
something.
yeah.
And so
That's super important,
yeah.
especially like when people consider like, rescues or anything like that. That's a commitment where you're kind of like saving a life almost, to an extent.
And that's why fosters are important too.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
help not only like, a mama cat who just had kittens, but also like a dog who those fosters give them a second chance at life. Same with shelters. We'll work on rehabilitation in the shelter.
Yeah.
And I saw that a lot at Heartland. It was like every single employee had a crucial role, and it was like every day you're going in the kennels and you're just talking to these dogs. Sometimes that's all it takes. We had an employee who would sleep in the kennels with the dogs who had been transferred because it brought them comfort. Or if after 9 years somebody was like, oh, I had a baby, this dog and cat can go away. We don't want it anymore, which, I mean,
that is horrible, yeah.
And like,
that probably happens more often than people think.
Or somebody passes away and they're like, we don't want mom's 12-year-old geriatric cat. Take it to the shelter.
Man.
We don't want that nasty little Bichon Frise.
Yeah.
Get your nasty Shih Tzu out of here.
Yeah. And like on my end, it's just like as far as like having so many dogs, like even like before my mom like really like had the hoarding issue, like there was a few dogs. It was like I have 5 siblings, right? I have an older sister, older brother, and 3 younger brothers, and it was when we were all together once upon a time, it was like we all had our own dog per se, you know what I mean? And so it they were all rescues. They were all rescues, like, and we obviously, like, my mom and we also could tell, like, because there's just some rescues you can't get back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's just some that are so far gone that you just can't do nothing. And so when we got ours, it, my mom always made it. I think the only dog that we got that wasn't a rescue was Frodo, actually. We bought Frodo as a puppy. It was my little Pomeranian. He used to be my dog, and he passed. But all the other dogs beside that were like a rescue or a transfer of some kind. And my mom always made it a point where it was just like, it's important to take care of them too. Not saying that the dogs that aren't rescue aren't important, but like
every animal deserves a second chance at life, or the most fulfilling life. It doesn't matter if it's a rat, a snake, a dog, a cat. Yeah. We had some people that, like, if we'd get chickens in, they'd be like, call a chicken lady. There's somebody abandoned 5 roosters, and this person would come pick up chickens. We got, I think it was goats in one time.
So, okay, what, like, you groom anything then?
So I'm certified to groom cats and dogs, but I can do small animal nails. I've done, like...
Can you even groom a goat? Are goats groomable?
I mean, you can. You could, like, shave them, but it's more like hoof maintenance, which... I can do it, but I'm really fucking bad at it. Like, really bad at it.
And I think with goats, if you have enough property and you set up, like, a rock, like, area, like, put up big rocks, I think they use rocks to naturally take care of...
Sometimes they can.
I think.
It's just like with horses. A lot of people are like, well, why don't wild horses need farrieing? And I'm like, well, they're on... all sorts of terrain, rocks, gravel, dirt.
Yo, Maddie's on top of it. Okay, So sorry,
Oh.
no, sorry, but like this is I kind of wanted to bring this up.
This is cool.
But so this is important. So like right here, Oregon. This is just in Oregon, or is this nationwide?
This is Oregon Animal Shelter statistics.
1.48% of the nation's sheltered animals, and is responsible for 1.73% of shelter adoptions. 54 animal wildlife organizations. Geez, 48,500 animals entered shelters in 2020 alone. That's insane.
Yeah, it's
Holy crap. So shelters report almost 11,000 dogs, and is that 22? Is that supposed to be 22,000? It's like 22.519, I imagine. So 10,000, almost 11,000 dogs and almost 22,500 cats adopted in a year. Dog, that's insane.
I think it's incredible that the average shelter houses 898 animals a year.
Oh yeah.
So what happens?
insane.
Like, what happens?
I mean, think about the space. I mean, there's a dozen kennels in Heartland Humane.
Well,
for
Heartland
dogs?
has they have two sides. They have the quote unquote isolation, which is that's the dogs that have just come in.
Yeah.
But I think if I remember correctly, it's like they have 12 or 14 on one side and then the same on the other, and a shelter will never double up dogs.
Yeah.
So like when they say they're full, it's not them being like whatever. They're literally at capacity.
Yeah.
And but yeah, sometimes even the cat kennels will be completely full. Isolation for the cats will be full.
And Heartland they don't euthanize, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
Not unless it's like
They
this
have
pet
to.
is
Yeah.
suffering in absolute and total pain.
Yeah.
And even then they will still seek the very appropriate vet care, try to get this sorted out. But it's a very last resort.
That's a lot of
Well, look at this statistic
animals.
right here. It says 68.6% are adopted, 7.3% are euthanized or die in shelter care. So that's just Oregon. If you scale that up to all 50 states, that's a shit ton of animals like that are just,
I bet Texas's stats and compared to like California and Oregon, because
Oh yeah.
Texas.
Well,
I
they
mean,
have a lot
imagine
of.
that. Well, it's
Yeah.
also a way bigger state. but-
look it up. Look up Texas.
I don't know how true it is, but apparently Texas has like just an abundance of free roaming cats and dogs.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, they have like the habitat for it. They could just walk for fucking days. And I
Yeah.
mean, cats, they don't need shit from humans. Like people think they need shit from humans. Nah,
No.
those motherfuckers go out. Those are alpha predators that are out there eating fucking mice and birds. Like
I always say
mice eat a ton of animals.
There's only
cats rather.
214 animal welfare organizations in Texas for like how large that state is.
Yeah,
That
we
seems
had
like a pretty
84.
small number.
Yeah. 340,000 animals in 2020, including 68,658 transferred from other facilities. Holy
That's
shit.
insane.
They report 97,000 dogs and almost 69,000 cats in a year. The average individual shelter, I think is what that means, is almost 1,600 animals a year. 9.2% are reunited with the owner. 48.8% are adopted. 8% are euthanized or
It
die.
seems that's pretty even with what
That's
Oregon
close.
was.
Yeah, that's
I'm surprised.
still insane at 8%. Like, what's 8% of fucking 100,000? That's like what, 800, 8,000? Like,
you're asking the wrong person.
yeah,
for math.
I can't math right now. That's that's nuts.
Well, and like a big
just-
thing is especially from what I've seen with not only Heartland but Oregon shelters, is they will do anything in their power to make sure a pet is not euthanized.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
That's a lot of our shelters are nonprofit, and that's why like my friends will post, I need something to do with my kids. I'm like, go volunteer at a shelter. Go walk
Yeah.
dogs. Go play with
Yeah.
cats.
That's 8%.
That's 8%. So 8% of 197,000 dogs.
Well, it would be 300 and that was the animals,
Oh, you did do.
because that doesn't necessarily specify if it's dogs
See,
or cats.
The cat ratio
Oh, I see what you mean.
is 10.3% are euthanized in Texas.
Where's that?
Down
cats.
at the 52% are adopted.
Whoa,
10.3 are
10.3%. Holy shit, dude! That's
And
a
it's-
lot of cats that
well,
you're just killing. Like,
people, and it's like that's a huge thing
Wow.
online. Is people are like, don't let your cats outside
Yeah.
because they destroy economies. You know, they kill native birds.
Dude, look this up really quick. Cats kill something like in the tens of like, or maybe not tens, but it's multiple billions of
Yeah.
mammals every year. Like
And-
cats have decimated
Absolutely.
local population. Like people think these cats are like all prissy. They need no. These cats are out here driving animal species to extinction almost. Like
1.4 between 1.4 and 3.7
billion
birds.
birds.
per year.
That's a lot of fucking birds, dude. Oh my
Oh my
god.
gosh.
That's it. That's unreal.
Well, and I don't think people realize.
And these are house
like,
cats. These aren't no
Yeah.
pumas. These aren't tigers. These are fucking house cats, dog. Like,
Well, and cats are like, I've joked about this from the beginning. It's wild to me that cats are these like, they're these little apex predators, and they just get fucking swooped by humans.
and they're
all the
just
time.
people. There's just people with them in their fucking houses and shit, dude. Have you ever heard that thing? Like, I've heard this on a bunch of different podcasts and shit. But it's like when you die and you have cats and they can't get out, the cats are the first thing that eat you.
Oh, our cats.
They'll eat you, even if look that up. It fucking
There's no doubt in my mind.
dogs will wait.
We have 2 cats. My cat, I don't know if he would eat us right away because in my eyes, he's a baby angel. My roommate's cat, Bug, absolutely would eat us.
Yeah, okay. Until this happens, check this out.
Nothing
This
in
is
those eyes.
No,
Google
he's
AI.
orange, that's why.
Yes,
they're
a
waiting
cat
for.
will likely eat you if you die at home alone and your body is left unattended for an extended period of time. However, most domestic cats are unlikely to prey on their adult human owners. Here are some things to consider. We won't go there, but they will eat you.
Oh,
like
yeah.
if they can't get out and if you're dead for a few weeks, dude, they're gonna eat your ass, man.
Oh yeah, it's like my roommate and I joke about it a lot because I got my cat as a rescue. My cat is Crumb. He is a
Crumb.
huge.
I love that name.
Well, his original name was his legal government name is Trash Cat
Love that.
because he was found in the trash. He would like seek out. He sleeps on garbage. If you leave a plastic bag out, you're never getting it back because he's gonna sleep on it. And like he will like seek out if somebody new's in the house. You're not leaving until he sits in your lap, gets on your shoulders, or you hold him. Bug, she'll like perch up on the back of the couch and she'll raise her back and hiss at people. And she's just this unhinged little orange monster.
That is hilarious.
And she just wreaks havoc on our house. And then there's like the angel of the house, but she gets him going. And then you have a 17-pound missile in the house.
17-pound missile.
That is hilarious.
Every night, at least once a week, my roommate's like, I'm going to turn them into slippers.
Oh my god.
Because they just wreck our shit. And it's like, she was found a friend gave her to Holly. He found her in a junkyard, B&R.
Oh shit.
No shit.
Yep. And brought her in, and she was this like dingy, gross little kitten. She's known nothing but love her whole life, and she's just a menace. And it's just funny to me because she wants to be like queen of the house, fuck shit up, but Holly will like hold her against her will and kiss her nose, and she's like, and screams. She hates it. And
My God, dude.
she's like, this is why she's going to eat me when I die. She's going to go for my face first. That's what I kiss her with.
Oh my god.
Dude, I had a cat. Shitrock was his name. So, Trailer Park Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Bubbles, one of his cats in the earlier episodes, he has a cat named Shitrock. That's where he got name from. But it's funny when he said his government name because Shitrock was always like, this is Shitrock's origin story. We're going to go deep right now. But this was like years ago at my old house in New York. We were at a party, or we were having a party at my old house, rather. And one of my friends, Lara, she came in and she had a box. It's like a lit party, right? And she came up with a box of kittens, dude.
She bought party favors.
Yeah. And she's like, hey, dude, you want one of these fucking kittens? Like, my cat gave birth. Like, I'm trying to get rid of them. I'm like, fuck yeah. And so we got one. And instantly my buddy Jake, and I think it was Josh too, was like, we're going to call him Shitrock. So anyway, Shitrock had grown until we moved out here, and he was one of those cats where you open a door and he would just be gone for like a day, but he'd come back, and he was coming back fatter. He was eating shit.
You met some old lady in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Like he literally he was a bitch. Like I love this cat, but he was like he could get his own food, but he was so spoiled. Like if he was inside, if you like touch like a chip bag or like a paper bag that crinkles, the crinkly noise, as soon as you would touch anything, he would launch to you like, bro, where's my food at? Like, anyway, so he got out one time and one of the neighbors caught him and thought he was lost, but he was just on an adventure. And they caught him, brought him to the pound, and I had to like call them. Like, they didn't know whose cat it was. He had no collar at the time, and so we called him. We found out that he had him, and they had to put him in the system as Juicer. That was his name, Juicer. And
He was like,
yeah,
broad
yeah, he was a fucking big cat. He was eating mice all day, dude. And so we picked him up, and they put a chip in him, and I was like, yeah, dude, that's my cat, fucking blah, blah, blah. He had, like, angel wings on his back, which was really cute.
Oh, that's cool.
It was really cute. And then, yeah, dude, he was just a motherfucker. Like, if he was pissed about anything, he would just, like, book it through the cabinets in the bathroom, just banging doors or running into shit.
That's-
Like, just, like, dude, cats have so much personality.
Well,
they
and
really do. Like,
I had 3 cats at one point. I had Crumb, Sweet Potato, and Oliver. Oliver was this, like...
Sweet Potato.
You want to talk about an asshole cat? She would, like... She loved treats, and she knew what the treat jar sounds like, which I'll get to with our cats at home, because God forbid anybody looks at the kitchen in our apartment. But Oliver he's an old man, an old curmudgeon-y man, and he was a tomcat for years. And from what it sounds like, I got him from my friend, Liz, who she does like dog training, fostering, all this stuff. And I wanted another cat. And she was like, we have this sweet old man. And I met him, and he's like this docile, sweet cat. And I was like, got him home, he settled in, and he was just a wild animal. He would like... chase shadows, and he'd randomly tweak out in the living room, and then we introduced Sweet Potato, and he fucking hated her.
Oh.
He was like, he loved Crumb, because Crumb's chill, and then we brought a kitten in, and he was like, yo.
what the fuck?
What is this?
You realize you're going to have to make a TikTok now talking about Crumb and Sweet Potato, dude. I swear to God.
Well, when I moved, I realized, like, Sweet Potato hated being inside. She was always trying to escape. Oliver and Crumb didn't care. Crumb wants nothing to do with outside. I used to take him hiking, so he likes to be outside. But, like, he wants to be close to a human. And Oliver likes to be outside, lay in the grass, and then he's like, I want my bed back. And Sweet Potato now lives with my dad. And she, like, follows him to his work truck. She waits on his truck, the hood of his truck every morning. And she loves the farm life, but also likes it inside. And then Oliver went with my mom, because I lived in a little tiny space, and I was like, this isn't fair to the cats.
Yeah.
And so when he went with my mom, I went over there, and I was like, what happened to him? And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, he's fucking huge. And he's just living all he does is eats treats, naps on a heated blankie, and chases shadows in her apartment. That's all he does.
He's living a luxury lifestyle.
Well, and he came from the streets. He was a street cat in Eugene. He has his ear clipped. A lot of TNR, which is trap and release, will trap, neuter, or spay. They clip the ear to be like, that one, we don't need to catch that one again.
That's why they do that?
Yep. It makes it known, and it doesn't harm the cat at all.
I've seen that. I just wonder, I was like, how does that happen? Does someone take a pair of scissors and just snip it off? Like, what?
And so, like, he just used to be this big tomcat, and then he met, like, I don't know if he went into foster care and was like, oh, hell yeah, this is great. But
just busting testosterone, or what do you mean? Like,
he used to get into fights, you can tell, and, like, because he has, I don't know his history, because I got him from a friend, and she was like, yeah, he just used to be a street cat, and...
A street motherfucking cat.
Yeah. And then he met Crumb, who's never met violence in his life.
That could be like a TV show, dude. Like, that could legit be a TV show. That's so funny. Character names and all. Oh my god. So, oh my god. I don't know what that is. We'll have to figure that out. All right. Fuck. I lost my train of thought there. So,
how did that transfer from doing the Humane Society stuff into grooming? Where did you make that?
So, I actually took a job at Petco as a cashier, because I was like, I have nutrition knowledge. I have pet health knowledge. And I was like, customer service, simple enough. I have amazing people skills. So I'm like, this could work for me. And I realized, I don't want to be a cashier. So I did the nutrition specialist work, and then a dog training position opened. And I was like, sure, I'll do this. Did that for a little while. And then I just loved the way that the grooming salon looked. These dogs would come in filthy. And
What's the worst you've seen?
I can get to that.
Okay.
Because I have
HIPAA.
nope. But like, I don't know if you want to call it rose-colored glasses at first, because I was like, oh, that looks so fun. I'm like, they're fluffing the hair. These dogs come out looking beautiful. There was a position open. I took it and got into it, and I realized, oh, fuck, this is wild. This is wild work, because, you think, oh, groomers play with puppies all day. This is great. No. My first week on the job, I had a dog knock me over my table.
Oh, wow.
Because it's scary. Think about, you're just chilling and your parents put you in the car. You go to a salon and all of a sudden you're like waterboarded, blow dried, nails clipped. No
waterboarded?
Oh, God.
That's what it feels like sometimes. And it sucks because, like, you have to get their face clean and dogs will be like, I don't want this. So you try to be as gentle as possible. But it just sort of, I always thought it looked fun. The groomers were really cool. They were these girls named Anna and Naomi. The way they talked about it, they were super real, and they were like blunt about what it was like. And I'm like, that doesn't sound too bad. Got into it, and I fell in love with it. It's an art. It is a true art form. And I realized that really quickly. But I never thought I'd be a dog groomer. I thought I was going to be, a vet tech or something. And
yeah.
But I fell in love with it, and 8.5 years went by, and then I got sick of it.
What's like, okay, yeah, we'll go back. What's the worst dog or animal that's like, or like, is there like a specific category that's just a pain in the ass?
This is a hot take.
Okay.
And I get a lot of shit for this. Honestly, it's doodles. Labradoodles, golden doodles, Bernedoodles. And the guy who invented the breed has even said, like, I created a monster. And it's not every doodle, but what it is that people are like, oh, it's good temperament. Labs are a high energy hunting dog. Poodles are a high energy foul dog. People think they're frou-frou dogs. Those are hunting dogs.
No shit.
Oh, absolutely.
What would they use? Like, just hunting? Bird hunting?
Ducks, fowl, pheasants.
What?
Yep.
No shit.
And then same with golden doodles. You have that's a retriever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have met some of my favorite clients were Labradoodles. And I think my very worst was he was a doodle. And unfortunately, he couldn't help it. But, like, he was a volatile dog. Explosive. He attacked me multiple times.
Ooh,
he put stitches in my arm.
How do you deal with that? Like, if they attack you, like...
With him, his name was Benny, and his pet parents turned out to be, like, some of my favorite clients. But with him, it was time. I would spend, 6.5 hours at what should have been an hour-and-a-half long groom.
Yeah, but, like, if he's coming at you, like, what's your protocol for that? Like,
move really fast.
Dude, get the fuck out of the way.
Or, so with, I would have to muzzle him for his legs, but with him, I learned shave him nose to, like, breastbone, and then muzzle him and do the rest really fast. And for him, the first, like, 2 years I did him, he didn't look good.
No.
He never looked good. He never looked finished. And that was just because he didn't like it. He was abused by a groomer, and
that's messed
up. It put a funky taste in his mouth. That's the big thing about grooming is, like...
Well, how do they do... What?
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
I think, if I remember correctly, he had his leg broken by a groomer.
Yo.
Because he's a puppy. They don't know what's going on, and she ripped on his leg, and it broke a bone in his leg, and it's like, that's like doing that to a toddler.
That's messed up.
And so, but in the end, it turned out, by the time I was done grooming for that company, he was able to be done, no issues, none.
Yeah.
And now his parents groom him, which before why I took over is because that he would attack mom. And now she's like, no, he does just fine.
Well, that's good. That's fucking crazy.
How long did that take?
4 years.
That's insane.
Almost 4 years.
Wow.
And it's just time. You just have to be, if you're going to bite me, you're going to bite me. Like, you're allowed to have your little freak out, but we're going to continue.
Yeah, it's not going to stop it.
Yeah.
And there were times where I would, like, groom a little bit, and then I'd be like, you know what? Run around the van. Let's play. Let's eat some treats. Back up on the table. Yeah, I worked for a mobile grooming company for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I wasn't at Petco grooming very long at all.
Oh, okay.
I think I finished my apprenticeship in March.
Oh, you're like certified.
Oh yeah,
You have to be like, you don't just get like trained to shave a dog. You are like certified.
I got certified through Petco, and then
How long does that take? Like, what's the?
It can take anywhere from 6 to 10 weeks, depending on. I finished mine in 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
But it can take up to 10 weeks, a little bit longer if you're like delayed. Oh yeah, grooming has all kinds of levels.
Is that only in Oregon, or could you go anywhere with that certification?
I can go anywhere.
Wow.
No shit.
And there's different levels. Like there's master certified groomers. That's your show groomers, your trainers. And then like I also got partially certified to groom cats through Petco. Wow. I never got like my certificate, but I learned how to groom cats.
That's got to be a whole different category in its own, I imagine.
I've groomed cats a few times, but it's really dangerous. One of my friends who'd been a groomer for 10 years got bit by a cat at a show, and 24 hours later lost 2 fingers. Yep. So cats are disgusting.
Yeah, cat bites are...
Well, they also... Yeah.
They're nasty.
They carry toxoplasmosis, too.
Yep.
It's like a worm or some shit like
and
that.
And they're obligated carnivores. Their teeth are made to crush bone.
Yeah.
So, like...
Dude, I imagine you probably had cats scratch the shit out of you before.
I've only ever groomed like friends' cats and my person. I've groomed my cats a few times.
You never just caught a wild feral cat?
Nah, man, that'd be wild business.
Okay, like so, like where I grew up, there's like all these like dairy farms, and there's just barn cats everywhere, and they're all like
you'd have to sedate a barn cat, I think.
Yeah, but I remember as a kid I would try to catch some to like play with them, but they were not friendly, dude. These cats were dicks.
Were you guys allowed to do that in the mobile?
Celia didn't groom cats because she's like, if that cat gets loose in the van and you're not going to be able to catch it. Yeah. It's going to hide in all the crevices, and it's just too dangerous. Their skin is like tissue paper. Yeah. If you nick a cat's skin, it flays them open.
Wow. Did they have that at Petco?
I don't know. It varies on location, but
wow.
PetSmart in Corvallis grooms cats.
That seems weird that you can, like a big organization like that has like that kind of ability to not what did you say, sedate an animal.
They cannot sedate them, thankfully.
Okay, that's
like question. A vet groom. Like if Jack caught a feral cat and he's like, this cat's really matted, you wouldn't be able to just be like, hey, PetSmart, groom this cat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust that.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, no shit.
Well, and like I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable grooming cats.
Yeah.
Do I want to? No.
Yeah. I don't blame you for that.
How does say you're getting a new client? How does it go? Like, what's the starting process of that? Like, you go into work, and then is there like a piece of paper or a computer that's
so every company, even like the small businesses, especially like at Wilco, you have a meet and greet in the little vestibule, and it's like the pet meets you first, and you look at temperament. Reading their body language is huge. If this dog is whale-eyed and backed in a corner, they're terrified.
What does that mean? Whale-eyed.
It's when their eyes get really big and all you see is like the whites and the sides.
Oh.
They're kind of like really, really.
I'm not sure about this.
Yeah. And
so there's like a introduction. They don't just drop a new cat off or some shit. Okay.
You have to meet a pet first. I don't know much about cats. I never groom them in like a professional setting.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming you would have to get to know the cat. I know a couple cat groomers, and like it's like a 10-minute introduction for them.
Gotcha. So it's a process of because that's like me thinking of grooming is like, all right, here's my animal, call me when he's ready or whatever.
A lot of people do that. They think they just drop and go, and I'm like, no, we need to check if your pet I would look at their teeth and be like, make sure that I can like groom around their face. And it varies dog to dog. Some dogs are fine at check-in, and then you get them on the table and they're like snapping and snarling and barking, which, you know, there's limits for that. Some dogs are just give them a 5-minute break and come back to it. And 9 times out of 10, they're fine after that. They just need a little bit of a break.
I'm assuming you guys kept the same way policies as most people do, where you have the right to refuse service, right?
Absolutely.
On those meetups where you're first meeting the animal, what situation would solicit
Lunging,
you
snapping,
just
snarling.
upon first meeting? Wow.
In all of my years, I think that's only happened to me twice, where I'm like, your
dog is too aggressive.
You have to either seek, you know, I don't like grooming dogs that have had like trazodone or anything like that, just because you don't know how they're feeling inside.
What's trazodone?
It's like a
muscle relaxer.
A muscle relaxer.
Damn.
And it's helpful. Like people bring their dogs in, and halfway through the groom, I'm like, your dog is too stressed and it's not fair to them. And I'd be like, speak to your vet and get a vet suggestion. And most vets will try CBD first.
Really?
Which it works for some dogs. But some dogs did need like a trazodone, and people give it to their dogs for fireworks, stuff like that. And 9 times out of 10, it helped a ton, and it did help the dog relax. But I just feel bad because it's like, how's this dog's mind feel now that it could still be so scared, but it like can't react normally.
That's nuts, dude. Yeah. That's crazy.
And like, some dogs couldn't help how they felt, because I've seen some wild shit grooming. Like, really matted dogs are the worst.
Like matted fur?
Yeah, I have seen...
No, a dog named Matt.
Yeah, Matt's and Steve's.
Like, just so thick you gotta...
One time I had to assist she was a junior groomer. She had just done her training, and she was like, I need help. And the other groomer that was there was like, this is the most matted dog I've ever seen. And this dog had what I call, and I've heard it referred to as lightning bolt bruising. The mats were so tight that it caused lightning bolt-like hematomas under the skin.
Whoa.
And it looked like the dog had been struck by lightning because the matting was so tight, and she was bruised.
Is it because all the hair's ripping?
Yeah.
Can you report people for letting their dogs get that bad?
Nope.
No way. Wow.
No matter the condition.
So it is kind of like a HIPAA.
They're getting their dog groomed, and they're no longer neglected by being groomed.
That's fucking...
What do you mean by HIPAA? I heard you say that.
HIPAA is like between doctor and patient for people.
Oh, like
you can't disclose that kind of
okay.
person. You can't talk about it to anybody else except with your patient.
And
okay.
It sucks because, like, with that dog, this pet parent literally just didn't realize she wasn't brushing down to the skin. Plain and simple.
Really?
Yeah, the top of the dog had been brushed, but she was like, we brush her every other day. And I'm like, you have to get down to the skin.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then next time she brought her in, I mean, she was still matted, but not nearly to that extent. But I've seen it worse than that.
What kind of dog was it?
A doodle.
Damn.
Well, they're really thick-furred. It's curly.
In, like, it all varies, too. Not all no doodle's the same, ever.
Is that the worst breed, like, as far as dog goes, to work with? Or, like, what's the worst one? Like... Like,
black
not like because they're a shitty dog, but like as far as like working their fur or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
like.
just because breeders don't give them instructions. Some breeders will be like, you don't need to get this dog groomed for a year. And it's like, that's wrong. Grooming should start at 8 weeks.
Really?
Whether that be a paw pad shave, a nail trim, as soon as your puppy has its second shots and it's old enough, start getting it groomed. Brush it from the day you get it. Play with its feet. Any breed.
Really?
Because they deserve to be clean, too.
No, I mean, I know.
Well, it's a common misconception that people are like...
Well, undercoats and stuff.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily brushing out their undercoat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could get stuck in there, and that can give them skin problems. And
Okay, on that, have you heard the myth that like feeding dogs bacon grease is good for their fur? Is that a thing? Have you heard that shit before?
There's all kinds of wild shit like that.
Like my mom, like whenever we make bacon, she'd like let them eat the grease. She just cook the bacon.
That's so,
let it like
so bad for him.
let it like cool down, of course, and then would just put the pan on the ground and let them lick out of it.
I mean,
She's like, it's good for their skin and their fur. And I'm like, okay, like I don't know.
It's terrible for their heart and arteries,
I'm
but like
sure.
go off, man.
Okay, all right.
Salmon oil is good for that.
I've heard from other people, not even just my mom. I've heard it from multiple people that the bacon grease thing, but I just didn't know if you heard that before.
I mean, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard it, but it's like there's no science behind
There's
it
nothing
at all.
behind it. It's just hillbilly shit.
Someone's uncle was like, "It's good for the dogs.
Then give it to the dog.
Let them eat it."
That's so funny.
That's funny.
So back to the Matadoodle though.
And she was such a sweet dog the whole time. She was very good. And like I said, it's a hot take to be like doodles are the hardest. And it's simply because there's a lot of like, it's always damn the groomer when it comes to those dogs, because 9 times out of 10, if they have to be shaved down, social media is really rough because no pun intended there.
Ooh, that was good.
Wait, it went over my
Rough.
head.
I said it's rough.
Bark, bark.
Good one.
It's really hard because no matter how much you educate a pet parent, you're gonna be wrong if you have to shave this dog down. And that's why I tell people, if you have to shave this dog short, you call that pet parent, and if they don't want you to do it, they can come pick up their dog. Because you shouldn't put yourself in a position where you're going to be blasted on the internet for thinking of a dog's health and safety. Because I've seen matting get so bad, a dog's leg had to be amputated. It will cut off circulation, and it's detrimental. Ears will be taken off. It
Holy
can cause
shit.
blindness. And, like, I've seen dogs whose mouths are matted shut on one side. And it can get really bad, and it's just always educate the client. I would send them Amazon links for brushes to buy and combs to buy, because you gotta let them know, like, it's not your fault you weren't educated by the breeder. And it's not necessarily the owners. 9 times out of 10, it's the breeder's not educating people on buying them. And then there's other breeds that are just like doodles. There's tons of breeds that have that coat type and the same kind of temperament.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, I've met a lot of real cute doodles, so can't say too much.
That's awesome. Let's take a break really quick. I gotta go pee. Go and just press the pause. Don't press the. All right. So I think we were talking about matted dogs.
Yes.
And yeah, that's what we left off with. You.
The importance of brushing your dog and stuff, and how educating owners.
How often, like. So I had a Pomeranian, and I never groomed him probably the way he should have been groomed, but his fur was like fine most of the time. Mm-hmm. But like as a general rule of thumb, like what's the schedule on
6 to 8 weeks?
Every 6 to 8 weeks, you wash them, brush them.
That's what I recommend. And like, I have another grooming hot take on my part, and I got a lot of shit for this from groomers. Is that I don't think people with like labs and pit bulls should have to pay to get their dogs washed. I feel like I always wanted to, like, I feel like we should teach these people how to bathe these dogs, because you're paying fucking $65 to $70 for a lab bath. That's wild to me.
And it's because they're so easy, you mean?
Yeah, it's just like a bathe, dry, and nails. The hardest part is the nails on those dogs. And some of them, like, some dogs are assholes, and they have to, like, this lab has to be done at a groomer because it's just a dick in the bath. But, like, 9 times out of 10, these dogs are easy. And it's like...
Yeah.
Making noise over there, Maddie?
I know. I lean back and...
Yeah. I got to replace all these chairs.
But, like, somebody was like, well, you're going to take away our income. And it's like, no, I'm not. There are plenty of dogs that need haircuts, because it's different to groom a dog, because... when you're doing, like, I used to do a breed specific on a schnauzer. And I was like, mean? So it's like the skirt with the eyebrows and the beard, the tip, the shaved ears, and like,
that's what a specific cut like that you call breed specific cut?
Yeah, like a breed standard.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't do that to.
And the thing is they're like, well, if everybody learns to bathe their dog, and I was like, I'm telling you right now, that the owner of my standard schnauzer is not gonna want to learn the body science and the bone structure to do her dog's eyebrows and beard and skirt. Ever.
You could teach them and, say you're on vacation or something. Teach them to do it
Her
for that.
husband did it once, and he said, I will never do that again.
But, I mean, I'd put money on the fact that they'd probably keep bringing their dog in just because they don't want to do it.
Oh, yeah. And some people, literally, it's like, they know they can bathe their dog, but they're like, I don't want to make the fucking mess. And I get that. Like, I've bathed my cats at home. It's a disaster.
Dude, yeah.
Half of it seems like cost of convenience, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and, like, I think that
some people also just like the idea of having like a pro or whatever, take care. They have money to throw at it.
In
like
our profession, there's people that do not take that profession seriously at all. They're like, whatever. I've had people scream at me before, like in my face.
Like coworkers? Or,
no, clients.
Ooh.
Like, sorry, I had a lady get so. Per big.
How many Karens do you have to deal with a week? Maybe a month. Because I guarantee there's big Karen energy around that.
At least. You'd be surprised because it depends on how you treat the customer. Like, at like a big box store, it's way more common.
Like they're just being a dick to you for no reason.
At least 10 a month.
Wow.
And it all depends if it's like, and it's not gender specific. So the wife will bring the dog in and they'll be great. And then the husband picks it up and he's just a douche. Vice versa. The wife will drop him off and be a fucking asshole. And then the husband picks up and he's like, here to get the dog, fucking peace out, bye.
Yeah. Yeah, no shit. That's funny.
And like, and that's where that saying that I said earlier is like, damn the groomer. Like, it's.
Yeah, people like always like complaining and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, you didn't cut it, like cut their hair or something.
I had a lady who she's like, I want a number 5 with, you guys aren't gonna know what the fuck I'm talking about. Nobody.
Well, number 5's the length, right?
Yeah, blade length.
Yeah.
I want a number 5 poodle top knot, poodle feet with pom poms. And I'm like, okay, so I did, poodle cut with pom poms. And then she came in the next time and she said, I don't know why you left those ugly pom poms on her legs. Those weren't pom poms. And I'm like, those are pom poms, home slice. And then she yelled at me, and I took the approach of, you got to kind of read the room. And with her, I was like, cool, then you can groom your dog at home. If you think you know better than me, by all means, please groom your dog yourself, because you screaming at me.
Was it the fact that they just weren't circular enough? Or
she didn't think that's what they looked like. And I was like, I don't know what you're looking at. And then she showed me a picture, and I was like, that's what I did. She goes, no, these are too long. And I said, no, they're not. That's just a different, I said, that's a mini poodle. Yours is a standard poodle. It's not going to look, those legs are this long compared to your giant dog's legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we came to an agreement after I was like, do you want to groom her yourself? She was like, well, no. And I was like, then you need to we got to find a middle ground here, man.
Yeah.
You can't scream at me every time you think I did something wrong.
She was full on screaming at you.
She did once and then never again, because I was like, then do it yourself. I don't know what to do for you. Screaming at me certainly is not going to get you what you want.
My God.
Or dude. I worked with a girl who, she still works at Wilco, and clients would be rude to her, and she would just be like, and stare at him. And then she would finish her sentence, and I don't think, she always had such composure with the rude customers that I don't think they knew what to do, because she would just stare at them. And they would just be like, oh, word, she doesn't give a shit. She doesn't care.
Yeah.
That works for some people. Sometimes it just further enrages them.
The worst I ever had to deal with was, so Petco and Wilco require rabies, and we make it well known. Bring your proof of rabies. This woman's husband didn't bring the rabies, and so I was like, oh, I can't groom the dog without it. It's a safety thing. Mm-hmm. And it was so long ago, I don't remember the conversation. She called me a see you next Tuesday.
Ooh.
Yeah, with a hard C.
The hard C.
And she threw coffee at me.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah. In hot coffee. And I was like, absolutely not. This is not cool. She threw it at the counter. It splashed everywhere. All because they forgot their rabies paperwork, and she was convinced I didn't say it. Lo and behold, they checked their voicemail. Guess who told them to bring their rabies?
Oh my god.
Guess what was in their confirmation text? Please make sure to bring your fucking rabies paperwork. And I was like, it took everything in me not to be like, I'm sorry that you're illiterate and don't listen. But I was like, nope. And that's when I actually started searching for other grooming jobs. That's when I found the mobile grooming, which is where I found my perfect groove. The owner, I worked for a company, hopefully I can say this, I worked for Celia's Mobile Grooming. Hands down.
Shout out.
Yeah, hands down, the best job I've ever had in my life. And it wasn't just Celia herself, because it was more like she was a boss when she needed to be a boss, but she made it like we were actual, like, family. You know, if we were sick, she was like, there's Propel, I have waters. If you need a snack, there's snacks in the house, just ask. But that's where I met most of my, like, the people I bonded with, because it's not just animals we bond with. People don't realize, like, your babies become our babies. I mourned pets. I have sobbed with clients. I've held clients while they mourn the loss of a pet. But I'm still close with multiple clients. I have a set of Goldens that I started at Petco at 8 weeks old, and I groomed them up until last year.
Oh, wow.
I have spent hours. I would book extra time to sit, usually at the end of the day, because we would talk for, 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
And that's, like, the most rewarding part of the job is the bonds you make. And I really got that with Celia's, because we went to their homes. I was seeing people in their natural habitats. I got to see people's kids be unhinged maniacs. Like, I think my favorite was one Christmas, we were at a client's house, and she had 4 little girls. And one of them was crying, and I was like, my client was like, you'll have to excuse her. Her older sister walks up, and she's like, you know why she's crying? And I said, no. And she goes, she stole a candy cane, so I punched her in the face. And I was like, word, I guess.
Yo.
All right.
Some lessons have to be learned the hard way.
That's baller, dude.
And, like, I made Christmas gifts for every client. I did paw print ornaments for clients. And one client, I knew their dog was on decline. And I was like, he's not going to make it. So I actually did his paw print in April. And he passed away in November. And I was able to give them that Christmas gift from their pet in December.
That's awesome.
That's
and
cool.
It, like, obviously we both cried because I had bonded with this dog. I mean, he was a butthole. But, like, I still loved him. It doesn't matter how mean a dog is. I'm still going to love that dog. It's a little being. They're little fuzzy beings.
Right.
Yeah.
They're still a dog, even if they're a jerk.
Yeah.
They're still cute.
But, like, that's the biggest part of grooming, is you have to bond with the pets and the owners. You get to know their personality. You get to know, keep it short and sweet with this one because they're a douchebag.
Yeah.
But I found myself talking to, I did that for 4.5 years in a 9-foot tall box van. And, like, I'd catch myself full on. I had a woman be like, oh, are you training someone? No. Oh, were you on the phone? No, I was talking to your dog. I was telling your dog about my day. They can't resist my conversation.
Like, what is happening here? That is funny.
They can't tell me to shut up.
They can't get away.
They're trapped in there with me.
So you're still
That's
doing
awesome.
Celia's?
No, actually.
She's a CNA now.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so I got out of grooming because, and this was really a really tough decision for me to make. I found myself getting really frustrated, not with the pets, but with myself. With my quality wasn't good enough. This groom isn't good enough. I'm not going fast enough. And I really put myself in a hole because I wanted to be better. And it got to a point where I'd get so frustrated with myself, I'd overwhelm myself, and then I would just, like, shut down. And I was like, you know what? You got to know when to call it quits. And for me, I was like, this isn't
fun anymore.
Yeah.
And I still, like, I really regret leaving because I loved doing it. And it was my career. It was my passion. I wanted to groom show dogs one day, and it's also really hard on your body. You know, one good example is I groomed a puppy. He was 11 months old, and he was 160 pounds.
Damn.
Was it a cane corso or something?
Holy
Black Russian
fuck,
Terrier.
dude.
I never even heard of that.
It's
Look that
a
up real quick. Sorry, not trying to play footsies with
playing
you.
footsie with me.
Sorry.
Don't kick me. Is that your way of telling me to shut up?
No. I swear to God, I was just moving. I wanted to see what this is. So, yeah.
This is my favorite breed. This is my dream breed.
Oh no!
They are
That is a big dog.
They are a protection breed, livestock protection.
Wow, look at that
Yeah.
mustache.
Dude, that's like.
So, little bit of like fun dog fact, grooming fact. Do you see the hair over the eyes?
Yeah.
Do you know what that's called?
Hair?
That's called a fall. You know why they have that?
Why is
When
that?
they're running through bushes.
Oh, to keep the leaves and
It
stuff out of
protects
their
their
face.
eyes from stickers
What
and
the fuck, dude?
predators or whatever. Not predators, but like, yeah, it protects their eyes. And like, that's a really bad Black Russian Terrier groom. I don't know why they have that.
That one has to be AI, right? The one with the girl.
Maybe.
Holy shit.
But in like, he was such a powerful big dog that like when he was done, no, that's a real picture. They're huge.
That's a real picture.
Yeah,
Oh my
they're
God.
massive dogs.
See, this is when I get the extra HDMI cord.
That is a big ass fucking
Yeah,
dog.
they're
That thing is
huge.
huge, dude.
That's
And
what
it's
she said.
working. It's working with those giant breeds that like.
That's when it becomes kind of a nightmare.
Well, and like. You know, people have their favorite breeds.
that
and
is a big fucking dog.
They're huge.
Holy shit. That's
those
not something
and,
I'd imagine being big.
Well,
That's-
and like if you look up Bouviers, I did.
How do you spell that?
Fuck if I know.
Bouvier.
Right there, Bouvier des Flanders.
Oh, word.
Those are also a giant breed.
Yeah, look
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah, they're huge.
So for people that are just listening, this is like just a very long, furry, like
They're
it's like
massive.
a carpet. Yeah, they got like really long hair on their face. That's kind of cool. It like
Yeah.
drops down.
And like
yeah,
working, and it's not even just the giant breeds. It's like,
they're like a sub breed of the Black Russian Terrier. They look similar, kind of, just different coat color.
Emo.
Dude, he looks like fucking like a rock star. Or something.
there's a video of us in the salon with he is a Wheaton Terrier mix, and that's just another terrier that gets a long eyebrows. And my coworker was recording, and I didn't realize she got me in the background, but I'm like, don't waste your time on me.
Oh my god. Honestly, perfect.
That is hilarious.
Perfect. No better way to time to do that.
But,
That is
like,
so funny.
It's not all like petting puppies. I've had dogs like shit on me.
Oh,
I was gonna ask that if
Oh.
they're like so scared if they had like done
So,
something like that.
At Wilco, this is a core memory.
Core memory.
My coworker and I, she was doing this Great Dane. Great Danes are huge, as you know.
Yeah.
And he was a pooper. We all knew he was a pooper, and it wasn't just like fear or anything. He just pooped all the time. And it just, I don't know if he like reserved it for the salon, but he pooped in his kennel, and we were like, if a dog poops in a kennel, it's an immediate pull the dog out, get it clean, sanitized, make sure the dog doesn't have anything on it. And so we pull him out, and he had like danced in it, done a little jig in it. And so she's holding him, and then he starts to shit all over, like tornado shit all over the salon. And it's going everywhere. And he gets on his tail, so he's fleeing it. And our boss is watching the cameras. He said we looked like Sims in a house fire.
Oh my god. Just absolutely useless.
And he got on the radios, and he's like, what is going on down there? And my coworker goes, there's shit everywhere.
God.
And we just, I mean, with that, you just got to take it with a grain of salt. You just got to get it cleaned up. You can't have a weak stomach and do dog grooming because it's gross.
I'm sure.
It's real gross.
I remember the one thing I did have to keep regular on Frodo, my little Pomeranian, is you got to keep his
butthole
ass
gland?
groomed. Because he'd
Dingleberries.
get fucking shit bad in his ass, dude. It'd become a disaster. I'm like, Frodo,
Oh,
what
yeah.
are you doing?
We had a lady who had an Aussie named Diesel, and she'd be like, make sure you get his diesel berries.
That is great.
Crack us up.
That's so funny. We had a German Shepherd named Diesel, dude. He was a badass dog.
This dog hated me for no reason.
Really?
Oh, he
You
loved...
took his diesel berries away.
Well, he absolutely loved... So I worked with a girl named Megan, his favorite person. He would come to her, he'd jump on her and greet her. Anybody else, he'd be like, bark at him in the kennel. Especially me, I'd never groomed this dog.
Yeah.
Ever. I never touched him. I've never worked with him before, and he hated me. So when she went on maternity leave, I had to take over, and he was good for me, but he hated every second of it.
Oh my god.
He'd try to eat me coming out of the kennel, and then he'd get out and he'd be like, whatever, I guess.
Oh my god.
This is fine, sure.
Australian Shepherds are kind of like that too, right?
Well, she's the Aussie whisperer.
Oh.
Every Aussie loves
What's
her.
an Australian Shepherd look like? Pull that up real quick.
Man, you need to know your dogs better.
Get it together,
Was it
Jack.
a toy Aussie or?
Yeah, he was a little Merle toy Aussie.
Oh, so he was gray and he had the spots.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was real cute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was the black and white though. Those are that's a tricolor.
I always
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
I always think of that as like Amish dogs.
Amish dogs.
Because they always have those.
They're herding dogs.
These
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
are high energy.
Oh yeah, they're crackheads
I could never.
in little fuzzy bodies.
Mm-mm.
That's
I
why
could never.
for a long time I used to joke with my like friends and coworkers that I made a ton of friends in the grooming community. I have a friend on Facebook. We've been friends for like 9 years. Never met her in person. We talk all the time. Well, we comment on stuff, but
Yeah.
I have a couple friends like that.
I met her in a
It's like,
grooming group, and it's like I've met a couple people that way, and it's pretty cool. But like she and I have joked before that the best way to describe most blue heeler personalities is a grease fire. The personality of a grease fire.
Oh.
And it's because
Chaotic.
they need a job.
Stinky.
They can't just
Yeah.
sit still.
And some of them, like, I've met some blue heelers that are the best dogs on earth, and I've met some that would take your fingers if they had the opportunity, unprovoked.
Yeah.
Because it's like their job to heal, their job to work. They're not,
Yeah.
they don't want to be your friend, they want to go work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a wild dog breed. Damn. Yeah, so it's like, other than dogs, do you ever, like, when you were doing that, or did you ever deal with like horses or
Yeah,
anything?
exotics.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
You ever groom a lizard?
Yes.
No.
Wait,
Lots of hair maintenance. No.
Okay.
I
you had me there for
I had a
second.
client that I used to do little bowl cuts on her guinea pigs.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
That is
Because
hilarious.
their hair would get really long, and I'd just take my shears and I'd like boop, 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 boop,
That
and
is
I'd give them little
funny.
bowl cuts and I'd
Oh
trim their
my
little
God.
nails. Oh yeah.
That is hilarious.
Bow
I've-
cuts on a guinea pig.
I've had to shave down bunnies.
Yeah, that could be a
shave down
podcast.
bunnies.
Yeah, which I mean, most pet bunnies are very chill.
Well, you probably have to do that for if they're like a long-haired bunny in the summertime, right? Because they can't regulate their body temperature.
I've only ever shaved one bunny, and the only reason I did it is because he was a pet bunny,
Yeah.
and the kids let him get into like slime,
Oh.
and it wouldn't wash out. It like would not come out of his hair, and he was like greasy. And she's like, I'm afraid he's gonna clean himself
Yeah.
and eat this. And there's like boric
Borax
acid
and-
or
Oh.
boric acid. Oh my god,
Yeah.
borax
Yeah.
in there. some acid slime. And so that's the only time I did it, and I was like, this is easy.
Huh.
Not all bunnies are gonna be like that, but
Yeah.
you know. But no, I never did anything too crazy. I've trimmed people's roosters' nails before, which
Yo, dude, roosters can fuck people up, man.
oh yeah, I lived
They
in a
get huge talons, man.
I lived in a
like,
house
yeah.
where they had one. It's a breed called a Jersey Giant, and he was huge. And like they warned me, this is really like
It's a dinosaur.
he had like a really fucked up name and everything because he was a horrible rooster, but he protected his hens, did his job. But he would like attack the donkey,
Oh shit.
and
Oh,
he had been kicked by the donkey, and then came back to attack it again.
Oh my god.
And he
A very
like
smart rooster.
trapped a roofer on a ladder one time because the rooster was like, you know what, you don't belong here, so you're gonna live up there.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, he was huge.
Well, yeah, it looks like a rooster. I was hoping there was like a side.
Look at how big they are. They're massive.
Yo, that's a big ass chicken, dog.
Chickens are dinosaurs, man.
That is T-Rex. Dude.
They're dinosaur birds.
That is pretty incredible.
That is disturbing.
Look at how big its feet are.
Dude,
Yeah.
that thing would tear your ass up if
He
it
would
really wanted
lunge at my pickup door when I would like run from
the
him.
size of its beak. That's fucking huge.
Massive. And he was
Wow.
such an asshole. And the owner of the property that I was renting from was like, oh, you'll notice there's like mop handles and broom handles. She's like, hit him with it or he'll fuck you up.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm not going to hit a chicken. Like, that's fucked up. And then I watched it go after her husband, and he booted it across the yard, and that bird was like, okay, it's UFC time. And he just came back and came back.
Dude.
And this rooster didn't care. And he would, like, go after mail trucks. And it's because
What?
they had other chickens. And there, you know, there were raccoons and coyotes. And she's like, oh, he'll fuck up a raccoon. He will, if you have cats, keep them
Yo.
inside because he'll go after your cats.
Could you imagine getting taken the fuck out by a chicken?
Roosters are mean. Have you ever been chased by a rooster, Jack?
Yes, I have actually.
terrifying.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not
Geese
fun.
and roosters. Geese are murder birds.
Dude, geese will. Dude.
They don't care.
Oh yeah, especially if you like. I've come across him on accident. Cody Lovely, dude. Fucking him and I have walked through my old field at my house, and we accidentally walked across like they just mowed all this corn down this field, and there was like geese with their eggs, and we're walking through the field after doing something. All of a sudden, we see these geese just stand up and start walking with their babies. I'm like, oh shit, dude! And then Cody, dumbass, start throwing a husk of corn at it. And the ones start coming after us, dude. And yeah, it was not fucking around. Believe this shit. It's crazy. He didn't like mean to, I don't think, but he like picked up a rock and just threw it casually, like, get the fuck out of here, right? Dude, beamed it straight in the head and killed it. Yeah, dude. It was like,
Oh, no.
yeah. And he was just like, get the fuck out of here. He wasn't like really trying to. He just like the perfect 1 in a billion shot right between the eyes and dropped his goose. I'm like, bro, what did you do? He's like, I just threw a rock, man. I don't know. But just like testament is like, dude, you get close to them, especially with their babies around. Those geese do not give a fuck. They'll come right up to you.
Corvallis turkeys get wild when they have babies. I was in the back of my van once.
Plastic geese, dude.
And I was just standing there grooming this dog. And this guy on a bike comes up to a stop. And this mama turkey comes flying at him, and he panics. This bird hit him square in the chest and just dieseled him off his bike.
Whoa.
Took him right off his bike. And I don't know who I told about it, but she's like, dude, turkeys are heavy. Like, they're big birds.
Yeah.
I hit one in my Equinox, and it took my mirror off.
Whoa.
I was on Oakvale, and it flew up at the road. I panicked because I thought it was so big. I was like, I just hit a vulture or an owl. And so I called somebody, and they were like, oh, we'll look into it. And then I said, I would like a call back. Please call me back. And the guy was like, it was just a big-ass turkey. It was a big tom. And
Dude.
I hit it at like 55, 60. And it ripped the mirror off of my car.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, it was huge. Put a big old dent in the side of my car.
My God. Dude, that's insane.
I
Dude,
felt horrible for like 2 weeks after that. I was like, this poor turkey's
Shit.
just trying to do whatever turkeys do, and I hit its dumb ass
Oh
and
my God.
killed it by accident. I'm crying about a turkey.
Dude, the worst is hitting a deer when
I have not hit a deer yet. Knock on
I've been in a
Yeah,
truck
knock on wood, man.
better.
and we were going like probably 45, 50 down this road, and this fucking deer like just leaps in the middle of the road, and we fucking hit this thing, and it just hits the truck and ding, bounces off and skips across the road, dude.
It's wild when
And-
they get up after that.
Yeah, and no, and it did. It skipped across the road, and you could see on the road there was like deer road rash where it like peeled its fur off, so it was like a strip of deer fur, and it went into the culvert. It fucking got up and ran away.
And you wanna stop and-
destroyed the front of this truck.
You want to
dude.
make sure it's okay, but it's a wild animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to be like, come here, buddy.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
they're not going to come to you.
Dude, I remember Gomer hit a deer one night and it shit all over the side of his car, dude. He hit it and literally, like, just the angle, it, like, splattered all down the side of his car. Oh, my God.
I got lucky.
And he left the shit stain on there
He did
for like
clean it.
months.
It's decoration. New paint job.
He would literally do that. He'd be like, hey, check this out.
I got lucky. I think I only hit one and 4.5 years of driving a 9-foot tall box van, and I only hit, I think, 1 or 2 animals. One was a skunk, and I told my boss, I was like, I hit a skunk, and she's like, no, fuck. Luckily, it had been raining, and so it didn't smell too bad, but I I don't know if I hit anything else. I think I might have hit like a bird.
Bro, I remember I whacked a squirrel one time,
Well,
man.
those boxes, those boxes are so tall. She's like, yeah, I think one of us hit a bird one time or something, like on the box because it's trying to fly away.
Oh, shit.
And I was always afraid that I was going to like back into someone's house or something. I can parallel park a box van, but God forbid I have to parallel park my Taurus. Not happening.
That's so funny. Yeah, man. Yeah, hitting animals is whack. Shit sucks.
Well, if deer weren't idiots and they were like, oh my gosh, headlights, hell yeah.
They're like, what is that thing?
Given
Standing
we're
in
in
the
their,
road.
we're in their territory, so
Fucking
like
dumbasses. Look that up really quick. How many deer accidents are there a year? That's got to be a huge number.
That's gonna be wild.
That's gotta be insane.
You're gonna have a wild search history on your.
Oh, dude, doing this podcast, it's already. We were looking up like Ron Jeremy's dick size. We were looking up all sorts of crazy shit already. Yeah.
In the U.S., it's gonna be wild. Oh my
Wow, it's roughly 1.5 to 2.1 million deer vehicle collisions each year. That's a lot of fucking deer, dude. That's insane. Holy Jesus. That's nuts.
The most dangerous months for animals are October, November, and December.
Yeah, when they were all in the rut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't swerve, hit them.
The collisions caused more than $10 billion in economic losses annually.
440 human deaths
Whoa.
each year. Dude, you what? Yo.
I'm telling you, dude, they're the rats of the forest. But they taste so good.
No, well, isn't that like a thing right now? Like deer are like kind of becoming overpopulated in some areas.
It doesn't seem like it.
No, like New Jersey, New York. Like there's some places where they're becoming a legit issue.
I think they're moving to residential areas because they know they're safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Consider a deer horn or a whistle.
What?
You know what?
Have you ever heard that before?
You know what I was taught? I think it may have been one of my uncles or like a friend's dad. It might have been my best friend's dad said, if you come across deer in the road and you have to stop, turn off your lights, hold on your horn, and most of the time they'll run away. Because have you ever honked at a deer with your lights on? They don't move.
Really?
Most of the time they're still frozen. Some of them will move, but 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty sure like they don't move.
Yeah. Sometimes like when I'm going on the road and I'll see them on the side of the road, like I'll just slow down, but I won't like stop unless
Walnut's really bad.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I see deer here all the time.
Yeah.
Right at the end of this road. They're always at the end here eating off the old apples, whatever.
Turkeys and deer are. There's also like a peacock. Feral
peacock?
Feral peacocks.
Feral peacock?
There's 5 of them and they're mean.
What?
I personally have never seen them out and about. But, like, people post on the Corvallis pages, and they're like, what the fuck's up with these peacocks? Because they're a nuisance. And somebody's like, I guess they were like I don't know if they're somebody's pet, and they fuck off sometimes.
Yeah.
Or if there's, like, these 5 feral peacocks that are just chin-chilling in Corvallis.
That's so funny. Yeah. Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's wild out there.
I got to see, and that's, like, a cool part, mobile grooming. I got to see a shit ton of wildlife because you're in the back of the van with the door open.
Yeah.
And, like, they would just kind of stand there. Or they would, like, walk by and they'd be like, what's going on in here? And they'd stare at you and then they'd go away.
So, what, if you're, like, going mobile, you're based on, like, phone calls or, like...
Emails and phone calls.
Okay, and there's no, like, straight-up schedule or, like...
Oh, yeah. It's a tight schedule.
Oh, okay.
So my day typically started about... God, when did I start? I would start at, like, 8 o'clock. And some days I was off at 5:30. Sometimes I would work in 8:30 to 8:30. It all depended on how... Because Celia didn't make our schedules for us. She was like, I'm going to do your first 2 weeks, but then you have to do it on your own. So... I was a glutton for punishment, and I would be like, oh, I can fit these in here. And I'd be like, you fucking idiot.
Oh, yeah.
You are an absolute
going too hard.
Idiot. And it's very, like, because we did Corvallis, Philomath, and Albany. And so we would try to schedule it, like, be all day in Corvallis or, like, Corvallis, Albany, Corvallis.
So it's just totally based on, like, who's... Okay.
It's all in, like...
You gotta plan your route, man.
Well, and like you gotta think like those are gas guzzlers.
Yeah.
They
oh yeah.
Sucked on gas, and she paid for the gas herself. And so she was like, stop wasting my gas. And it's funny because she never like, it's why I would have like yelled at people and been like, dude, get it together. She would just be like, you're just planning your day better. Be smarter.
Time management, dog.
Stop.
Time management.
She would go, did you learn not to do that to yourself? What did you learn from that?
That's funny.
And there were some times where it's like, I couldn't help but like, I have this 2-hour time slot that fits this dog perfectly, but I go from Philomath to Albany. Back to Corvallis. And so, that's just how some days would work out. But 9 times out of 10, you just got to be smart about your schedule because you've got 2 hours for this dog and then you've got a 10-minute drive. And that's why, like, I ate a lot in the cab of that van. And it was usually, like, not my proudest moments. I'd, like, crumple up a soft taco like a piece of paper and just shove it in my mouth.
I've been there. I've been there.
My favorite was I was in traffic and I had, what was it, a donut. And I was like, I need to eat this because I've had it since 7 this morning and I'm hungry. And I put, like, over half of it in my mouth and I look over and there's a sheriff and we locked eyes and I went, and he just, like, looked away from me.
That is hilarious.
Like, that was really embarrassing.
It was an intimate moment.
I should have winked at him.
God.
Holy shit.
So funny.
Would have ruined his day. He was mad I had a donut.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's 2 favorite things. Donuts and, I don't know.
That's hilarious.
It was trial and error with the scheduling.
Yeah.
I got smarter about it, obviously, as I went on. But there were some days that I was just an absolute idiot. And I was like, why did I do this? And
what are some things, like, if someone, like, were to do this or whatever, like, you know, I guess you kind of went over a little bit, but, like, what's some shit to expect, you know? Like,
with, like, mobile grooming or just grooming
mobile
in
grooming.
general?
We'll talk about mobile grooming.
Mobile grooming is you need to really your van layout is the most important thing. Van layout and insurance. You want to make sure that you have the most efficient tools and tubs and water usage that you have for that space because you don't have a lot of room and you really have to be conscious of that. And then the insurance aspect is like you have to make sure that everything is covered. Life insurance, pet insurance, whatever. I don't think we had pet insurance, but like
you gotta cover your ass.
you have to make sure that everything's properly done. All of your business stuff is properly done because if you get injured and you don't have your shit done right, what are you going to do?
You're beat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or my fear was injuring a pet, which I never did. You get like little cuts and nicks sometimes, but I never had a pet get like actually injured in my care.
Yeah.
But that was a big fear, and it does happen. Like,
I'm sure.
Somebody has a dog launch out of the van and break a leg or something, which never happened to us, but it can because
It's feasible. Yeah.
I would try to lift as many dogs out of the van as I could, or like we had ramps that we could set up, which the dogs usually just launched out of the back away from them. But like that was my biggest fear, and she had all of her bases covered. I think all of her, like, the whole van was covered if anything happened. And making sure that you have a way to, like, you have to work on keeping it sanitized back there. You have to be able to properly clean the nooks, the crannies, your water supply.
And that's probably not even just for the dogs, but it's for you. You know, like,
and like because you're using this water in their face, and like I had to wash my hair a few times while grooming. You get fucking poop or pee in your hair, you're not gonna have doo-doo hair all day. You're gonna wash your hair. And so it's not only pet safety, it's human safety.
Yeah.
You can get mold places you don't want mold. And so it's definitely get your van and your workspace settled before you ever even think about naming your business or anything.
Yeah.
It's always, and they're expensive.
Yeah.
I looked into it, and it's like $20,000 to $30,000 to start it. It's very expensive. If you look up pre-furnished grooming vans,
I'm sure it's gotta be a pretty penny.
they make grooming vans now that have like bathrooms in them and little kitchens. You can put like a microwave in it.
Wow.
That's another thing.
That's dope.
You have to think about how you're going to power your van. Am I going to make this plug into their houses? Am I going to carry a generator? is this going to be independent power, like an electric vehicle power?
How'd you
kind
guys
of
do
thing?
it?
We plugged into houses, which nobody ever had an issue with, ever. And it worked.
Mm-hmm.
I never had an issue with it. If the power went out in their house, we'd be fucked. But
Yeah.
that's going to be the issue anywhere.
Yeah.
But she also had gas-powered generators, which worked really, really well, actually.
That's cool.
And, you have to think about how are you going to heat your van in the winter? And how are you going to cool yourself up? Celia had, swamp coolers, the big ones for the vans. So, and then she had a window AC unit for her van. And so you never had to worry about overheating because you had that AC unit. And
Oh my
then
God.
in the winter, she has built-in propane tanks. And so, you could heat your van, and it kept it warm enough that it never got cold back there, ever.
That's pretty legit, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And that's that she really, really, you really have to think through your workspace. And, how are you going to store your tools is another big thing.
Organization.
Yeah. Because, I had a pair of shears that were $510 when I first bought them.
Holy.
And, your clippers are almost $300. Blades are $30 to $60 a piece. Grooming equipment it's a very expensive field. I mean, shears get more expensive than that.
Yeah.
And if you have them bumping around back there, they're going to get dulled and nicked and chipped. So you have to think about how they're stored.
Yeah.
And I was a slob, so I really had to think about it. I'm a messy groomer. There's people that, my coworker was Celia was very, neat, organized, clean. Same with at Wilco. My other coworkers were very neat. And then there were two of us that are just
This goes here. I'll throw that over.
toddlers at a birthday party
I remember
unhinged.
where I did that.
And then at the end of the day, or at the end of the groom, we'd neatly clean everything up. But then halfway through the next groom, there's hair everywhere and your shears are on the table, which don't do that.
Yeah.
Bad idea. That's a no-no.
Yeah.
And I had an upper hand because I had really, really cool mentors for grooming that really taught me, don't do this if you want to be successful. I had the woman who trained me at Petco was don't just toss your grooming shears here. Don't stand like this if you don't want to drop your shears. And so that's another thing that going into the mobile grooming aspect is you have to learn where your body position and stuff is going to make it to where you don't trip, you don't drop shit, you don't fall.
Yeah.
I guess that's tripping.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then another big thing is you have to think of areas of coverage. You don't want to be going, I cover Philomath to Salem. That's wild. That is
a huge area.
That's not the mobile company used to do Lebanon, but it wasn't efficient because she didn't have enough clients there. And there were clients that were, they were grandfathered in because she's like, it's not fair to them to have us coming there for years and then just being like, sorry, not doing it. So she's like, we're just going to groom them until either, the dog passes away or if they find a new groomer.
Yeah.
And that worked great. But there are some people that will be like, I'm going to do a week in Salem, a week in Corvallis, a week here. And I'm like, I mean, that's cool because you're getting coverage areas, but that's also that's a lot of wear and tear.
That's a lot of miles.
That is,
yeah.
You're putting wear and tear on a vehicle because you got to think your van's going to break down at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mainly fuel pumps, starters, and alternators that are the issue.
Mm-hmm. Typical. Oh, shit. Yeah. That's cool though, dude. It's such it's something I never would have thought about, but it's it's important, It's important that people take care of their animals and have someone like you and someone's got to do it, you know.
Yeah.
And I think people need to take it more seriously. I wish that when I was a dog owner, I did, but it's something that people should consider and especially if they're wanting to start some, it's valuable to hear information like that.
I don't think people realize grooming isn't just, my dog looks nice. It is an important part of pet health.
Yeah.
You're keeping your pet's coat healthy and clean. You're not, your dog's not getting matted. It's not a sanitary trim is necessary for long-haired dogs, so they're not getting
Dingleberries.
well
Yeah.
in like
Diesel berries.
diesel berries.
Dieselberries.
Not to be too explicit, but like you're not matting pee-stained hair on a dog's vagina.
Yeah.
And that's another thing is like I have said the most absolute unhinged things while grooming. And it's just literally just regular grooming talk. Like you're not going to find in your hair salon. That's what's wild is hairdressers will be like, I do the same thing. And I'm like, you do not shave your clients' buttholes. You're not being like, I guess an esthetician would get it. A waxer would get it.
Yeah.
But like.
Oh, man. Waxing assholes.
Well, and it cracks me up because I was in my van one day. And I know for a fact this woman outside heard me say it. I was grooming this dog, and she was very obese. Did not want to stand.
The dog or the lady?
Maybe both. I don't know. The dog. And, like, her mom knew she was very overweight. She hated to stand. And she was like, yeah, I've got her on a diet.
I don't like to stand.
And she would constantly sit. She was prone to UTIs because she's an overweight doodle.
Whoa.
And so I was like, Molly, I know you are fat, but I got to shave your vagina. And I looked out my door, and this woman was like... Whoa.
That's hilarious.
Or like, calm down. I just want to shave your balls is a wild one to say, but it got said all the time because
I would laugh my ass off, dude.
You got to think like, and you never think about that. Like if a client walked in and you were like, bro, just let me shave your taint. You got to be like, I can't imagine how unhinged that sounds. Or I had some kids like pound on my work van because they thought something was happening to me. They were like, oh, you're in distress. I was grooming a husky who was screaming.
Oh, yeah. They're
and
very
I said,
loud, yeah.
I was like, that's not a woman, that's a dog.
That's so funny.
Like,
Are you okay?
Are you
She's
being attacked?
fine.
And I'm like, no, it's a dog. I'm blow drying her. And like, you find weird things in dogs. You know how much weed I found matted in dogs' hair?
Oh, I'm sure it got to be a lot.
I will never forget when I was brushing a dog and it was a big matted doodle. And this client was cool because he was like, shave him nose to toes, shave him bald. He knew he couldn't maintain the coat, got the dog from a friend, but he's like, just shave him bald. And I was like, oh, he's got a really hard mat. I'm like, I don't want to know what this was. It was a screwdriver, a mini screwdriver.
That's crazy.
What?
Because he's a shop dog. And he was like, I've been looking for that.
What?
I said, well, it was in your dog's butt fluff. So
Whoa.
fishing hooks, dead lizards. Find lots of dead lizards and worms.
That's so bizarre.
Oh, yeah. Because they'll like, and it's not just doodles. It's like golden retrievers, anything with long hair.
Damn.
Lots of slugs, too. Be like, why has this dog got so many slugs in it?
Dogs are so nasty.
That is disgusting.
You cuddle with these things.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah. Filthy creatures.
well, and
so
what's wild
gross.
is some people would bring their pets in and they'd be in like rough shape. And I'd be like, this dog has poop all over its butt. And I know this woman's like rubbing her face on it. And she's like, my poor baby. And I'm like, well, you have so much poop in your bed because this dog has poop all over it.
Ew.
Damn. Shit.
There's a lot more fun in grooming than there is bad, I will say. In my humble opinion, I have had a lot more like funny, good times. I've had dogs do things that have made me laugh so hard I cried.
Yeah.
I used to have a little mini microphone and I would do grooming reviews with the dogs.
Oh.
I went through so many microphone tips because they'd chomp them off. And that was like a fan favorite. People loved it. And it was just like, I had one dog who she barked into it one time. And she'd never barked at me before.
That's funny.
But I held that to her and she was like,
That's awesome.
and I said, that's an opinion. That's a hot take.
there you go.
That's a hot
That's
take.
a hot
Or
take.
like, you finish, I think it was 2 Christmases ago, I finished grooming a dog and my client was like, oh, sorry it's in birthday paper. Somebody ate all the wrapping paper, and she whipped her head and looked at the dog, and the dog had disappeared, and she came back with a pot holder, and she was like, I wonder who it could have been. And then the dog got the zoomies and fucked off outside with the pot holder, and she's like, I'll just worry about that tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
It's dark outside. And so, like, you get fun stuff like that. I get dog personalities are a big thing. A lot of the times dogs get the zoomies after grooming, or like my clients would let their dog outside to go potty, and I'd be like, hey, can you please watch your dog? And then they go roll in the dirt.
Oh,
and
my
I'd be
God.
like, I'll just go fuck myself
Oh,
again.
shit.
All that for what?
Or sometimes you'd groom a green dog.
What's that?
They'd get in grass clippings.
Oh.
They would
funny.
color themselves green.
At least they smell good.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to cut this because the camera's about to die.
Oh.
But I think this was awesome, and I think it's, like I said earlier, it's important for people to, like, you know, hear this, take care of their dogs, and also understand it's a really interesting, you know, thing to do that I never would have considered.
Well, there's
or
a lot of
whatever.
that emotional connection. People don't realize, like, we love your pets as much as you do. Like I said, I have like heartbrokenly mourned the loss of other people's pets before. And you go through life with them. I groomed a dog from puppyhood till the time he was put down, and I got to be there when he was put down.
That's cool.
Because I was a
That's
part of the
cool.
family for him. And so, like, I'm glad I got to talk about it. I've never actually talked about it. You don't hear groomers on podcasts.
No, yeah, no, this is cool, man, and yeah, I'd like to have you on again.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
you know,
anytime.
we'll talk about the aliens and the ghosts some other
Oh,
time.
absolutely.
But
Yeah, that's
I'll
Yeah.
yap about that. Plug your camera in for that one.
yeah, but
Hell yeah.
no, for sure. But seriously, thank you so much for coming
Oh, yeah,
on.
thank
I
you for having
appreciate
me.
it, and you know, I'm gonna hopefully we can edit this and get this out tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you know, get your dogs groomed. Take care of your
Yeah,
shit.
get 'em groomed, man.
Yeah, and thank you guys so much for listening.
Tip your groomers, please.
I'll catch y'all next time. Don't forget to tip your groomer.